our staff report as we agreed to amend the agenda and have Chad Boykin and Chris Sadler to give us a report on the new invoice system.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm just going to do a quick screen share. Okay, thank you again, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. We will be covering a lot of ground today, and we will have a full question and answer session at the end. So we do ask that if you have any questions, feel free to jot those down, and please hold those questions until the end. Unfortunately, and for reasons I will describe today, the fee app system that we use to pay private assigned counsel, or PAC, is broken. The broken system I'm talking about does not apply to the capital and appellate system or to the contract system. Those are separate. However, it does apply to the PAC fee app system, which is the bulk of the bulk number of cases that we do pay. I will describe the issues and I will present a pilot program, the Online Attorney State Invoice System, or OASIS, that will modernize our operations and speed up payments. Finally, I will ask you, the Commission, to vote on adopting this program. OASIS will require some changes, but it is the way to accomplish an imperative goal. That goal is to pay our PAC within 30 days of completion of their work, using the most simple, efficient, and cost-effective means possible as soon as possible. To set the stage, we have three types of attorneys. We have public defenders. We met a lot of our new public defenders a moment ago. We have our MAC contractors, and we have private assigned counsel. Public defenders and contractors both get paid every 30 days, but our PAC attorneys, who are the backbone of our system and who work in all 100 counties, currently get paid anywhere from 75 days to as much as 1 year after completing their work and submitting their fee app. It is not uncommon right now for it to take 4 to 7 months. Why does it take so long to pay these fee apps? First, to answer that, we have to remember that PAC are paid by fee applications, and a staff of 5 people currently process about 11,000 fee apps per month.
Wow.
These apps come from 100 different counties with 100 different ways of doing things. It's approximately 132,000 fee apps per year. Those payments are in addition to issuing vendor payments, employee reimbursements, MAC contractor payments, expert payments, investigators, and paying our capital cases and appellate cases. The current process is 10 steps, and it requires the fee app to go through 5 different sets of hands. There is a chance for delay at every single stage in this very antiquated process. First, the attorney has to draft the fee app. They have to submit it to the judge. The judge has to review and sign. The judge has to get it to the clerk. The clerk has to, in some cases, clerks do some processing of their own. Again, it's different in different counties, but then the clerk has to get it to IDS. IDS receives it. We date stamp it to know when we got it. Then there's an audit process. If there's a fatal error at this stage, then we have to return it and they have to start all over again. And this is very late in the process. If it passes the audit, then it's coded and it's keyed. And when I say key, that's the same thing as paying. That's when it's entered into the system for payment. This is a big, long process. 2 recent incidents illustrate the extremity of the problem. In January, one of our chief PDs reported to us that a new judge on their first day opened a desk drawer. That drawer was stuffed full of unsigned fee applications. The month prior, in December of 2023, we were contacted by a judge who advised that he was sending over a stack of fee apps that he had just signed after having them for 1 year. On the front end, a fee app is often received by IDS 30 to 120 days after the attorney first submitted it to the court. The shortest time we see is about 7 days, and the longest is 1 year, as the examples in the prior slide showed. It frequently takes 30 to 120 days to reach IDS, and once we receive the fee app, we are currently only able to pay it after 60 to 80 days. The result is that the attorney is often awaiting payment for 4 to 7 months from completion of their work. Why 30 to 120 days on the front end? The front end problem is caused by the long 6-step front end process that requires that is required before the app ever reaches IDS. There can be delays at every step. There's no tracking, and when we get calls, we can't report on a fee app unless we've received it. And all of these steps have to happen before we ever receive it or have any way to track it in the majority of counties. This is a sample redacted fee app, and this is not unusual. This attorney contacted us seeking a status and reported that the fee app they submitted the fee app to the court in July. You can see that the attorney signed this fee app on 7/21/23. This example shows that the app was signed by the attorney on the 21st of July and signed by the judge on October 4. There was a 3-month delay in step 2 out of 10 for this app. Similarly, this app was signed by the attorney on May 1 and signed by the judge on October 6. This is a 5-month period between those two events. The attorney called us in December, rightfully angry and demanding to know why he hadn't been paid for a fee app he submitted in May. This is a redacted email. We get dozens of these each week with lists of fee apps. In this example, the first group of apps were submitted on October 2nd and received by IDS on October 24, over 91 days after submission. The second group were submitted on September 6th, and as of December 11, they were not received yet by IDS. The only way we know this detail is because our AP supervisor or our CFO, Aaron Gallagher or Shannon Simmons, who are both on the call today, one of those two people dug through hundreds or thousands of fee apps from that county to manually search for these on behalf of the request for the attorney. Management does this every day, and they do this to prevent staff who are issuing the payments from having to stop making those payments in order to do those searches. Our director has received these messages too from clerks, from judges, and from private assigned counsel. This is just the front end of the broken system. On the back end, we are facing payment delays of 60 to 80 days after receipt in order to issue payment. Historically, IDS has been able to pay fee apps 30 days from receipt. Beginning in October 2023, that 30 days became 60, became 80, and sometimes more. Why is it taking that long? The extraordinary payment delays that we are experiencing on the backside since October were explained in a memo that was posted to our website on December 5. December 5. There are two causes. In early October, the state of North Carolina implemented a new accounting system. It's NCFS. This system added several steps to the payment of each individual fee app and requires, on average, an additional 1 minute per fee app. That's approximately 11,000 minutes per month. About a week before NCFS went live, IDS was externally mandated to receive fee apps from the task queue in OASIS or eCourts in the counties that are using that system. This requires individual retrieval, saving, sorting, and naming of each individual fee app and adds on average 2 to 6 minutes per fee app. Recognizing the hardship, AOC has generously provided us with a temporary position paid for by AOC through July 2024. So presently in all counties, we require twice as long to pay a fee app, and in the eCourts counties, we double or triple that. This is a time study that gives a visual flowchart representation of the time it takes to process 100 fee apps in NCFS using a paper process, that's this first section here, versus the OASIS or eCourts process. In short, what used to take 10 minutes, and that's this first stage here, color-coded with the yellow, what used to take us 10 minutes now in the eCourts counties takes us 240 minutes. That's that individual retrieving, naming, sorting one at a time. This table gives the present status and a future forecast. The bottom line here is that what used to take 4 to 4.5 weeks in the old accounting system now takes us 9 weeks in the 95 non-eCourts counties. In the 5 eCourts counties, that same work takes 20 weeks. Those 5 eCourts counties will be 63 counties later this year, and next year it will be all 100 counties. This month, it's going to go from 5 counties to 17 counties. That's happening right now. If we don't act, today's crisis will be more than twice as bad next year. There is a clear and present danger at our door, and that danger is the potential collapse of our PAC system, which is the backbone of indigent defense in North Carolina. This is just a small sample of emails from December 2023 from PAC all across the state. The last one quoted describes the wasted unpaid hours spent reviewing records, communicating with IDS, and communicating with the clerk just to try to determine whether a bunch of months-old FIAPs were ever received, which they weren't, meaning that this attorney had to resubmit them starting all over again. This, again, is not uncommon. Each attorney here has reported that they have stopped or are going to stop taking appointed cases because they cannot get paid in a reasonable time. Just in the last 24 hours, we have received 2 more of these emails. Some history is over the past 8 years, separate from this crisis. Over the past 8 years, IDS has already incurred a loss of 30% of our PAC roster. The 2,602 attorneys that we had in 2015 have fallen to 1,849. This has been caused in part by low hourly rates, overwhelming caseloads, and a payment system that was slow but tolerable. That payment system is no longer tolerable. We have to build, not empty our PAC rosters, and building those PAC rosters means lower caseloads for all of them. Lower caseloads means less burnout, and we have to modernize the way we do business in order to survive. We do have a plan that with some key innovations to the way we do business will allow us to meet the moral imperative to pay our PAC within 30 days of completion of their work. That plan is the Online Attorney State Invoice System, or OASIS for short. Here's how it works. IDS builds a simple, dedicated website for PAC to electronically invoice IDS after their FIAP has been submitted to e-courts. There are some limits. For example, OASIS will be used only in adult criminal cases and only in e-courts counties. But those e-courts counties are growing rapidly. Confidential cases like parent defense and juvenile are not compatible right now to OASIS, and for the time being, these cases will still be paid by FIAP. However, we are exploring moving these attorneys into the MAC contractor program to expedite payments to them and fix the problem for them. PAC will enter only the basic information that we need to pay them. There is no sensitive payee or client information. If the judge has requested a timesheet or if there are expense receipts needed, those are uploaded directly in the system. Once an invoice is submitted online, the attorney receives an email receipt of the invoice with the case numbers. This provides them a tracking system from the first time they submit, and that's a first-time innovation for IDS to be able to provide. Next, the digital data they enter feeds into a spreadsheet that is sent to IDS AP staff, accounts payable. NCFS does allow spreadsheets to be uploaded for payment. Doing this will save hundreds of hours of manual data re-entry. With those saved hours, staff will transition to performing a skilled audit function. They will make sure that there is a matching FIAP in e-courts before authorizing payment. One key to this process is that the app does not have to be judge-signed for the invoice to be paid. The judge still sets the fee and still signs the FIAP, but if the app has been submitted and is a match, IDS will pay off the audited invoice. This is a significant change, but it is the fix to those long front-end delays. This proposed change begs a question. What if a judge reduces an award on a FIAP, but we have already paid it off the invoice? Judge reductions are very rare and they are statistically insignificant. But to provide for these instances, IDS will have a dedicated email address for judges to report reductions, FIAP rejections, or any other suspicious FIAP issues. If there is an overpayment, IDS will recoup the overage using existing processes. Counsel will attest to understanding this policy on the website. Judges will still sign the FIAPs, maintaining the existing procedure without delaying payment. OASIS builds on this process because the improved data collection can do something that individual judges' signatures alone can't. They give us data, and that data can reveal billing patterns and trends across jurisdictions that expose problematic billing. As an example, in 2022, the IDS research team, which is Chris Sadler's team, used data to uncover fraudulent billing, where an attorney was billing more than 24 hours worked in a single day repeatedly over a long period of time. Data analysis uncovered this, judicial approval did not. Finally, can IDS pay an invoice prior to there being a judge-signed fee app? The answer is yes. IDS has the statutory authority under 7A 458, which holds that the fee to which an attorney who represents an indigent person is entitled shall be fixed in accordance with rules adopted by the Office of Indigent Defense Services. There's also years of precedent here. IDS has been setting the fees directly in capital and appellate cases for years, and we have also been doing this with the contractor system. OASIS will give IDS the ability to pay PAC in days instead of months. This slide gives a visual of how, by comparing the payment steps in the existing system on the left with the invoice system on the right. We looked at this long system before. It's 10 steps. Over here, what we have is an immediate data transfer. We have an email receipt. Then we do our internal audit. We verify that there's a matching fee app. An automatic email notice is provided if there is an issue. If there's no issue, it goes right into a spreadsheet that can be uploaded for payment. No redundant data re-entry. And that redundant data re-entry, to put it in context, we have almost 2,000 attorneys. We have 1,800 attorneys entering data that is re-entered by 5 people every day. That is, if you think about it, how long would it take 5 people to do the work of 1,800 people? That's one of the reasons it's taking us an extraordinary length of time right now. This fixes that. I would like to now welcome our research director, Christopher Sadler, who designed and programmed OASIS. There is a short introductory video here, and then he's going to actually give you a demonstration of the system. What you're going to see is not the final system. What you're going to see is a test site that he built quickly to show the proof of concepts. The final system will be a lot better and have a lot more bells and whistles.
Hi, my name is Christopher Sadler, and I'm the research director here at IDS. Today, I'm going to demonstrate the new online attorney state invoice system. This system is something we're really proud of and excited to show you. So thank you for joining us. Hi, my name is Christopher Sadler, and I'm the research director here at IDS. Today, I'm going to demonstrate the new online attorney state.
I like that so much, I showed it to you twice. This is the actual demonstration, and let's hope this works.
This page was developed solely as a proof of concept for the Commission. If OASIS is approved for pilot, the final page will feature improved looks, feel, and functionality. PAC attorneys will register with IDS and be issued login credentials, accessing the page login screen with a password and 2-factor authentication to meet judicial branch web security standards. Payee information is maintained by the NC Office of State Controller. No payee information such as tax ID number is shared, transmitted, or stored using OASIS. If any firm or payee information has changed, attorneys are advised how to provide the updated information to the Office of State Controller. If there are no changes, attorneys select No and move to the attestation reminder button. Next is an error avoidance mechanism where attorneys will be prompted to click Yes or No to describe whether any of the attorney's cases are capital or were potentially capital or appellate. These cases are paid using a different system. This question helps avoid errors and potential duplicate payments. If no, the attorney moves on to entering a case. First, we select the appropriate county using the drop-down menu. The selections include the county name and the 3-digit county code used by eCourts. Here, we will select Wake County. Next, we enter the file number. It is programmed for the 2-digit year, the criminal code, and 6-digit sequence number to help avoid errors. The online process itself avoids handwriting and readability issues, which are a frequent cause of fee app returns. Next, we select whether the app is an interim or final fee. The first hypothetical case will be an interim. Therefore, we are asked for the last day we worked on the case. The calendar tool appears and we select February 1st, 2024. Next, we select District or Superior Court by clicking the radio button. Then, using the drop-down menu, we select the highest original charge, which has the appropriate hourly rate programmed. This is another error reduction mechanism, preventing us from applying the wrong hourly rate and eliminating the need for referencing the rate chart. Here, we select a high-level felony. Next, we enter our time in court waiting, and time out of court. If the judge requires a timesheet, there will be a means of uploading it at this stage. Next, we bill for 20 single-sided copies. And again, OASIS is programmed to apply the 10-cent per page rate, avoiding inaccurate billing. We now enter 10 double-sided copies, and OASIS automatically applies the 16-cent rate. Finally, we drove 45 miles out of county on this case. Here, OASIS applies the IDS mileage rate of 0.625 cents per mile. Finally, for other expenses, we enter $25.01. Because this exceeds the $25 threshold, we must provide receipts for all these expenses. The Choose File Upload box appears and allows receipts to be uploaded. Notice the total amount populates based on all of the data entered. Here, we are at $566.74. We can now add this fee application. Since we want to add another fee application to this invoice, we now click Add Fee Application. Again, we will use Wake County. We'll input our case number. And then at this time, we'll select Final. Since this is a final fee, we must enter a disposition date. We will select February 1st, 2024 as the final disposition date. Next, we must answer whether the client was convicted, not convicted, or whether the attorney withdrew. If the client was convicted, then we know the case is recoupment eligible. Here we select Yes for conviction, we select District Court, and a low-level felony for highest charge. We now enter our hours. We have no copies, mileage, or other expenses, and the math is done for us. The total amount being billed for this case is $390. Now you can see we get a grand total which is the sum of all cases entered. Here, the grand total for the invoice is $956.74. We then click the final use agreement. We have a CAPTCHA as additional web security. When we are ready, click submit, and we're done. Once submitted, we will receive an email receipt documenting the case invoiced, providing attorneys a tracking mechanism for the first time ever. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Chris, for that demonstration. So web security is a fact of life for any online system. So to repeat some of the things that Mr. Sadler said, first, no sensitive payee or client information is involved in this system. That's sometimes referred to as PII, or personally identifying information. Payee info, such as the tax ID number, is held by the Office of State Controller, not IDS, and is not used on fee apps or invoices. It used to be on the fee apps. It's been removed in October. We still do get some that have it on there. They're using the old form. But for the purposes of this website and invoice mechanism, there is no PII involved. No defendant data is needed for invoices, no client names, no social security number, no addresses. The website, consistent with NCAOC web security protocols, will use two-factor authentication and industry standard web security protocols. Security updates, patches, and maintenance will be done by our existing vendor, Tomatillo Design, who has done excellent work for us on our main website for years. In addition to web security, we also have a plan for physical security through expanded audit. IDS worked with the Director of AOC Internal Audit, Jordan Samuel, who I believe may have joined us on the call today, to develop a two-layer audit system with additional safeguards. The first layer of this audit security system is that all invoices that meet certain threshold criteria will be automatically sent to management for a direct audit. These are things that we audit on the fee apps anyway, so it'll just be replicated in this system. These include cases where a certain amount of hours or a certain amount of dollars billed or a certain amount of mileage exceeds a certain threshold, and also any unusual case types, including potentially capital or appellate cases, because those get paid in a different system and we don't want accidental duplicate payments. And it also includes any class 3 misdemeanors, because those require some legal review to make sure there's entitlement to counsel at state expense. So this is layer 1. Layer 2 is that for all cases that do pass this first criteria, the system will randomly send an approved percentage of cases for audit by staff. Staff will verify that a fee app for the case invoiced is in OASIS eCourts and that the billed amounts do match. They will flag any other issues and either approve or disapprove payment. A sample daily audit sheet is shown on this slide on the left-hand side. Cases approved are uploaded to NCAS for payment. Once uploaded through the spreadsheet, payment usually takes approximately 3 days. So this is a sample of the audit sheet that our staff will go through for layer 2. What happens if a case fails audit? What happens there is that an email describing the reason for the rejection will be auto-generated and sent to the attorney. It will also include instructions on correcting the issue and how to resubmit that invoice. As an additional safeguard, any case that is rejected will be flagged for audit when resubmitted. This will prevent taking a gamble on immediate resubmission without correcting the issue. Statistically speaking, once an attorney has submitted 7 file numbers for payment, their probability of audit is almost 100%. And as you saw, you can invoice multiple cases in one invoice. So you might have 7 file numbers in one invoice. You might have 10, you might have 1 or 2. But once you've hit 7, your probability of audit is almost 100%. We'll conclude with a look at the system benefits, starting with a look at how the system will reduce errors in fee app returns. So fee app returns are a long-standing problem, and our staff return approximately 25 to 40 fee apps per week per person. That comes to between 6,500 and 10,400 fee app returns per year. That translates to 1 or 2 full cases of copy paper annually. Those cases of copy paper are 50 pounds each, so we return 1 to 2 of those every single year. Returns delay payment late in the process, frustrating the attorney, and they waste tax dollars because they take up clerk, judge, and staff time. On the right is a return cover sheet with the myriad issues that cause fee apps to be returned. Those include illegibility, missing information, billing at the wrong rates, and math errors. This is a fee app that was returned because all of the payee information was completely missing. With an online invoice system, this will not happen because the payees have login credentials, we know who they are, and they have no need to re-enter their payee information over and over each time. Also, there are boxes that are necessary that will require information to be entered before moving forward. So there's no more returns for missing information. Also, no returns for legibility issues or handwriting that our staff can't read because the information is digital. OASIS prevents other common errors by preventing blank fields, automatically applying the correct hourly rate based on the case type selected, and doing the math for the user, preventing returns due to handwriting issues and math errors, and it provides an important real-time policy information. such as reminders that if you are in court waiting for 4 hours and you are working 4 appointed cases that day, you need to bill 1 hour waiting for each of those 4 cases, not 4 hours waiting for each case, which would be 16 hours. Having that policy reminder is something that we don't have on the FIAP, but we will be able to have in this FIAP system. Other policy reminders can be popped up when you hover over the information button. We believe that this is a common error that real-time reminders can help prevent, saving tax funds and ensuring accurate billing and payment. Other benefits of the pilot include the first-time ability to pay back in days instead of months. This, we hope, will slow PAC losses and help us start to rebuild our PAC rosters. We can now also email invoice receipts directly to the attorney automatically, which provides a tracking system for the first time. Returns and rejections are immediate, and they no longer happen months down the road late in the process. They happen early in the process so that they can be fixed quickly. Digital data increases our audit capability. Waste reduction and AP staff will no longer have to manually re-enter data. FIAP processes remain intact, and the FIAPs remain the court record, and they remain in process for recoupment purposes. We'll be talking a little bit more about recoupment in our setup debt update later, but the FIAP does more than just provide the payment vehicle to the attorney. They are also the court record, and they also provide the recoupment vehicle. And in some cases, that recoupment process is delaying payment. I had a call this week from an attorney who had a FIAP that the clerks were holding up because they wanted to make sure that the judge signed in the right box. And, you know, we had to go over the fact that IDS policy is no matter which box on a juvenile FIAP the judge signs, we accept it, we'll pay it no matter what. But the clerks want to make sure they're doing their job right, and we don't want other parts of the FIAP mechanism to get in the way of being able to pay our attorneys on time. So the bottom line here is that OASIS makes NCFS work for IDS instead of making IDS work for NCFS. What that means is this new state accounting system has slowed us down tremendously. This will make the benefits of that system available to us and make it something that helps us instead of hurting us. So this is the final slide. This is our proposed rollout. If the commission votes today to authorize this pilot, we intend a small rollout limited to 10 to 15 select attorneys. They will test and improve the system and give us feedback so that we can make it the best it can be. The system will roll out along with e-courts since they work in tandem. Without the ability to do that audit of the FIAPs in e-courts, this system can't function. So it's going to mirror and go with the e-courts rollouts. So our full implementation goal, if approved by the commission, would be mid-2025. I thank you all for giving this important project your consideration, and I will now open up the floor for questions prior to the commission vote. And again, I thank you for your time. I know this was pretty involved.